Boom, here we are at the Frying Can Ranch at Cedar Creek Lake, Texas. I want to make a little different video today. And if you're really used to air guns and you know what's going on, you might want to skip this one. This is sort of for the novice, for the person that just got in, especially springers. Because I took my Crossman shockwave out just the other day and was doing some shots, and it is hitting extremely low. And so a couple of things are going to cause that problem. Your scope is settled, something's come loose, you need to adjust your scope rings down the line. I checked all that, and then I took the notice there's a little bit of an area here where that was kind of, you could almost see through it. So you could either have a bad scope rings, they're not settled in right. This was a stock scope. I drilled the heck out of a can at 30 yards with this, you know, just this morning. Took out the bottom of a tomato sauce can. Second thing that'd be a problem is your barrel's dirty. You need to clean the barrel up and get that done and you know, straighten it out. But the real big cause is these screws right here. We've talked about this in other videos. You have one here, you're going to have one here, and you're going to have another one right here at the back of this stock. So today, for the novice, I'm going to show you what you're going to need is this blue LocTite. You're going to need that, and you're going to need a good screwdriver, and I'm going to show you what to do, and I'm going to tell you what to do after you've done this. There's a little bit of something, so don't get crazy, because you got to be real patient. So starting out here, we're going to come over here. Hopefully you can see all this. We're going to get our little screwdriver in here. We're just going to loosen this screw. I've got them pretty tight. Some of these have been LocTite at the factory and I've had to redo them. We're going to take out this front stock screw. This will be the right hand side. Come on. Yeah, I should have used a power tool or something like that, but we'll get it up out of there. And it's coming, it's coming. Make sure you got the right screwdriver so you don't tear up your, these are usually going to be a hex or a Phillips screw. So we're going to drive that out of there, and it feels like it's ready to come. Now there might be a little washer down there. Don't come out too fast and lose that washer. I have a magnetic screwdriver here. We'll put this over the table. You're going to take your LocTite, and you're going to butter that screw up real good with that LocTite. Get a big bottle of water, walk it around, turn your screwdriver, you know, let it run back, let it run forward. But you want a good job of LocTite. Make sure you get it good and covered with that LocTite. And then very carefully, those kind of come in at an angle. If you do it right, you won't get much on your stock, and you start driving your screw back in. Just like so. And we're going to get this screw in here. We're going to get it real tight. We're going to do this 3 times in this video. They're in there pretty good. I'm going to get out of your way for a second. And now it's getting in there. And I want to just take my time, bump it in there till it's good and tight. Do not use red LocTite, because if you do, you're going to have a torch to get it out. You'll melt your stock. Red LocTite is, I've dealt with it on brake rotors on motorcycle stuff. You got to heat it up to get it loose. You got to melt it. So now we're back to the left side if you've got it up to your shoulder. And we're going to get this guy out very quickly. Now I noticed yesterday this is pretty loose. Continued to shoot after I tightened everything up. But I just wanted to show you this very quickly. And we'll get this guy loosened up. And right at the end of the screwdriver, again, we're going to put your LocTite. Just that blue LocTite, butter that up, walk it around. You want to make sure you have plenty. See, the last one I didn't really just walk it down the screw, but I'm going to show you a couple different ways. We'll just rotate that. We want to make sure that that screw is good and coated, like that, with the LocTite. Set that up at a slight angle. We're going to line it up in that hole, and we're going to start driving in there. Most of these go in at just a slight angle. And we'll start, there it went. We'll start getting this guy drove in. I had another gun that did this to me, and it really threw my sighting off. I got very frustrated. I haven't had a good week in quite some time. Got a lot of things going on. Kind of nerve-wracking, but that's all right. You know, life is like storms. Sometimes you're in the bad weather, and sometimes the sun comes out and shines on you. So, took me a good motorcycle ride this afternoon. Got me some vibration therapy going on. Yeah. Now there's one more back here. What I like to do is catch that. Boy, I must have really cranked on him, because he doesn't. There he went. And I'm going to set this up here so we don't throw anything. We're going to back him out. He was in there pretty tight. We're going to back him out, back him out, back him out. Keep it coming, Big Daddy. Keep coming, Big Daddy. This one looks like it might have had something on it at one time. We're going to back him out, back him out. Come on with it. This one's getting a little trickier than the last one I did. I had a lot more room to get my finger in there and get it going. We're going to try to raise him up right out of that hole. And very carefully, like I said, he's a little bigger. And we're going to hang him off the end of that screwdriver. And we're going to butter him up. And if you do this outside, like I'm doing, make sure you're over something so you don't drop it on the ground. Get a bunch of dirt on it, and then all hell breaks loose. And, whoops, see what I mean? Well, we'll just take that off the screwdriver for right now, because that's going to be a big pain in the butt. You could probably use a little bigger driver for what I'm doing here, but I think I'm going to get away with it. This is after I told you to make sure you get. You might get some of this on your finger, who knows? That's on there pretty good. Now I'm going to barely pinch it here, and we're going to try to get that back on this screwdriver. Whoa. Just like that. Fingernail. And then make sure I don't get that on my stock. We're going to drop it right back through that hole. And it's not wanting to go up. There it went. And now we're going to move very quickly. If you get a little less on your stock as you're doing this procedure, and you get right on it, you can wipe it off pretty fast. Keep your stock nice and clean. And now we're getting in there. Somebody's got a nice little Harley running up and down the street. Yeah, see, this goes in there quite a ways. A little harder to do with those little nub fingers of mine. We're going to crank that down, because it really has to go in quite a ways. And we should be as tight as I'm ever going to get it with that one. Now, once you've done all this, don't shoot your gun. Put your gun away, put it up someplace. Let it sit overnight. Let that stuff harden up, because if you try to shoot it right after that, a tendency, I had one I tried that with, and I don't have near the gap that I had before back here on this piece right here where my thumb is. See, before it was trying to rise up. My other gun, I was actually grabbing a scope to see if the scope was loose, and the whole back end was going up and down, up and down. So, and I know that some of these are spring pistons, some of these are nitro gas, but it's a really good idea to get these 3 screws, you know, with the 2 up front and this one back here in the stock. Get them buttered up good with that blue LocTite. Again, don't use the red. Get this right here. It's good stuff. I found this at Walmart for like cheap. Get it all down there, and then get it back in the house. And hopefully you got other toys to play with or whatever. But let it sit overnight, let that harden up, let it get good and stiffed up, get your thread tightened in there good. Then worry about shooting it. You got time to clean up any messes you made. Like I said, I had a little bit on the end of my finger. I just wanted to share with you that's a real quick way to fix losing your sighting on a Springer, either gas piston or spring type. And it helps out a lot. I've had to do this. Ruger's real famous for it, especially even the sight on a Ruger will come loose. I've had this mentioned in videos that you got to kind of take it apart. You got to redo all the screws and then put all the screws back in, because I've lost the set screw on my one Ruger a couple of times, so I got it taken care of. So I did all the stock screws, and it's been acting pretty good. But, you know, there's another one. I was doing great. Get about 5-6 shots off. Hey, what are you doing, butt? My little kitty's running around out here wanting attention. I wouldn't give it to him. Yeah, he's an attention kitty. But it's a real quick way to stop a lot of frustration that you have when you're out shooting air guns. And I hope that'll help you out. So if you have something that's acting screwy like that, you reset the scope, you get some shots off, and then all of a sudden it's going down or up or something. What, you don't want to be with me today? You don't want to be with me today? She's being a little arrogant today. This is my little adopted cat that I just showed up one day, and took me 2 years to be able to pet him hostage. I call him hostage because he holds you hostage while he's out in the yard. But you know, I wanted to share that with you guys. If you're kind of new to air gunning, you're messing with springers, the gas pistons aren't quite as bad, but still a lot of vibration. That's a real surefire cure. So I hear a lot of guys on reviews, or guys say, hey, I can't get my sighting to settle in. Well, you know, scopes settle, you know, and that's just a fact. And there's a way to put them on and to make sure that you've got, you know, the same gapping all the way around on each side. You know, you really want to, I've used various things to gap these pieces of plastic, whatever, to make sure they're absolutely perfect on each side. You know, one side can be pinched all the way down. This side looks like it's got about, you know, a 1/2 inch gap to it, or, you know, so many eighths of a gap to it. You don't want that. You know, same thing with putting these in. You want to kind of tighten them down like you do on your head bolts of your car. So, you know, don't tighten them all the way up in the back and leave it loose, you know, on the front, because then you'll have this tightened down. This might want to make the scope go right or left. There's a lot of variants to it. There's a lot of videos on how to set that up selves. But again, I've done this with a stock scope, you know, 30-40 yards, blow out the bottom of a tomato paste can. I wish I hadn't thrown it out. I'd proved to you I did it. Of course, that was seated with my knees up like this, on my shoulders on my knees, and I'm, you know, looking like this at my target, you know. And I'm not going to do it right now because I've already put this stuff on here. So this is one of them I did. I just want to share that with you guys. It's a quick, simple, very inexpensive fix. Just make sure you have the right screwdriver or the right screwdriver or the right hex wrench. You'll be well on your way to curing a lot of problems really, really fast in a simple way. Really, really simple. Again, it's a video for the novice. You know, a lot of guys that have been doing this for a long time, you know, they already know this. Some of my viewers may not. Just wanted to share it with you. That's how I do it, the Flying Can Ranch. I'm going to get in the house. It's been hot. I got laundry to do. Dog's big as the horse. Cat's the pet. You little booger butt. Boop, boop, boop. That's how we do it, Flying Can Ranch. Catch y'all later.